Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Here we go.
It's Friday, but we don't have a Browns game. That's okay. We're still pumped because we have two of the three biggest football games of the year. I'll get it out.
Yeah.
I love this weekend. This weekend for me is probably the apex because the Super Bowl for me never really lives up. It's just one game. There's 8 hours of pregame shows. There's only 3.5 hours of games.
Yeah. Is it down to 8 hours now? Have they cut it back?
Man, it's terrible. It's
I don't
like
watch any of that.
at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't watch any of that stuff.
I don't either because it's all
when I was a
blah,
kid,
blah, blah.
I watched every minute.
Yeah, right.
Every minute.
Now I
No,
don't
you
care.
don't.
Oh,
When I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they used to do a masterful job at making you think it was going to come on. The game was starting in 4 minutes.
Right.
You're like, wow, that's another story. And we go down to the field.
Yeah,
Right.
What? It's 6 hours later.
Yeah, then you got to go outside to watch a performance from Three Doors Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kesha.
Yeah.
It's
Three
just
Doors
like,
Down.
what are we doing?
Hoobastank and Kesha. at
Where are we
halftime.
watching the Super Bowl this year, guys?
Huh?
Jay having
Great
a
question.
Super Bowl party?
I can easily host a Super Bowl party if that's the way we want to go. Absolutely. You
We
guys
haven't
tell me.
discussed it. We haven't discussed it yet, but I think it is something we should
I
discuss.
fire up the
post-show.
simulator. Tracy kicks it into hostess mode. We got
Yeah.
plenty of Jason's favorite soap
Yes, we do.
down in the bathroom.
Oh, the Bougie Crawford soap. It's been renamed the Crawford soap.
That's
The
great.
Bougie Crawford
So-
And
soap.
me and
Isn't that great soap, though?
Oh, it's great.
Hey, I think we should freak her out. We should be like, yo, McNuggets, Earl, the young guys, we're staying the night before.
You know what she
Down
said?
in the basement.
Come on, we got enough room. Let's go.
Pajama party. Guys, can you keep it down there? Guys, what broke?
No, we'd put you in the golf studio so none of the sound gets out. Right. Have at it. We've got a great day today because 90 minutes here, and then coming up at 12:30, I can't say this enough, 30 minutes of never-before-seen Browns coverage.
Yep, yeah.
Browns content. You haven't seen this before. Some of what you're going to see here today, you've probably seen before. But coming up at 12:30, this is all virgin Browns material. Yes, I said it.
And we're giving awards out today.
Yes.
Today's our award show, yeah.
I love
which
it.
we're very excited about. We're going to give not an MVP, and I like this because that would have been fairly easy. Most valuable person. Which person in the organization had the best 2023? That's going to be a great discussion. I can't wait to see how my colleagues voted. We voted 1, 2, and 3 on all of these awards, and Mikey pulled out his calculator to make sure that the math was correct, and he tabulated, and he's going to have the aggregate results of who wins, who was second, who was third. Also, at the end of that award show, this is going to be my favorite part of the day, we're going to each give a superlative award, and that's whatever we want it to be. And I don't even want to give. I think I know what one of them is, which is very funny, but I'm not going to say.
I'll
it.
give you guys a little teaser.
Yeah.
All 5 are very vastly different.
Oh, good.
I had forgotten about your moment, Jay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought it up because it put a smile on my face because it was something I had forgotten about, and I'm glad it was brought
Did
back
I nail
to my
that?
attention.
Like, you know what it was. Do you think that was that moment of the year?
Well,
'Cause
my
it was-
actual we'll see when we get there, but it's
Okay.
a great moment, and it was definitely funny.
Yeah.
Definitely funny.
Okay, good. All right. How you doing over there on the other side of the glass, Mike?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Anthony's back here clipping today, so if we're slow on tag board, give us a little second. But we got a FanDuel ticket, which is always fun, and we have 26 free agents coming up that we're going to run through. Some guys that are big names, some guys that didn't play a single snap this season, but we're not missing a single one. We're going to get to that in 1 sec. But first, a word from our dear friends over at FanDuel. The NFL's regular season has wrapped up, but there's still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed just by placing a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And the best part about FanDuel is that it's so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, including live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explorer tab. You can make parlays in the new Parlay Hub, which is the best and easiest way to find popular parlays, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And our winning bet today comes from, hello, how are you doing? Rogo Jenga 2, who hit a 20-part same-game parlay, all alternate totals. So this person took the alternate totals, brought it down, but bet 20 different legs in the Cavs-Bucks game on Wednesday night, hit all 20, and turned $20 into $375.64. The payout, not as much as it would be because the alternate totals were all dropped a little bit. However, you turn $20 into $376.64. It's a hell of a win.
Explain that alternate turnover. What is that?
So is that you
Explain
get the bar to reach isn't as high, but the odds aren't as long.
So this person, I'm not sure if it's a guy or a girl, this person took Donovan Mitchell over 21.5 points on the alternate, which lowers the odds,
right.
So the payout's much less.
Because the normal over-under was higher.
The normal was 28.5.
Yeah.
This person adjusted it down to 21.5.
So, you know what, that might not be a bad way of doing business because there's really no long shots or even, like, reaching their averages.
Right. It's less risk, but less reward.
Yeah.
Like Giannis
but hell,
in
if
this,
you play 5 of those a night and 2 of them hit,
Yeah.
you're in business.
Hey, let me see. I got to figure this out now. Let me ask y'all too, because I'm going right back to the well on this Cavs game.
Tonight?
How much do you think that the Cavs and the Bucks will play their starters? Because it's not a back-to-back, right?
No, it's full go. There's no reason.
Yeah,
So
I think
they'll have the guys in, right?
You had a
would
day
think.
off in between. There's no travel. They've stayed there the whole time.
Okay,
it should be full go.
Yeah, I don't want nobody having 5 minutes, 10 minutes. No, I need to see that.
Is Doc coaching? Do we know? I haven't.
Doc
looked.
is coaching
I think
tonight.
so.
Yes, and in some Cavs-related news, Doc has poached Dave Yeager, who was an analyst and
What?
front office, not front office, Jason, what's their analyst? Is that the right word? Consultant. But he was with the Cavs, and he is joining Doc Rivers' staff.
Is that
Yeager coached with
confirmed?
Doc Rivers. Yeah, Shams tweeted out 38 seconds ago.
Okay.
But Yeager coached with Doc in Philadelphia last year, so now there's
It
a
makes
little
sense. It makes sense from Dave's perspective because he's been on Doc's staff before in Philly, as Mike was saying, and he came here in a consultant role. It was a little strange, and now he's back on a bench. So,
JB's not getting fired.
well, I mean, they're
if he is,
hot.
he's not getting replaced by Yeager.
Yeah, right.
They won eight in
No,
a
I mean,
row.
he shouldn't be fired.
I think he's
Yeah.
done. He's
done a good job.
We haven't spent a ton of time on the Cavs,
Yeah.
obviously, but for all the flowers, to use the cool kids term, that Kevin Stefanski got for what he did with the injuries that the Browns had this year, JB's done the exact same thing.
Well,
with the
only,
Cavs.
the only difference is that each game Stefanski wins is like 6 games in the NBA.
Yes.
I mean, the importance.
But
is
when you
so much
lose
greater.
Darius and Evan
No.
for over a month, you thinking, oh,
the wheels could come off.
yeah,
And
this
he's
is going to
kept
get
the
ugly.
boat
And
going.
he's kept, and they're
He's
actually
done a great job.
actually playing better without
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah.
In a lot of respects. Now the schedule's played into it, and
Sure.
we all know how the rest of that goes.
All right, Mike, where are we starting?
Let's start with Amari Cooper, guys. He had a fantastic season for the Browns this season. He's entering the final year of his contract. As of right now, he's due $20 million on the cap. The cap hit would be $23.8 million in 2024 with the bonus. He's 30 years old, and we know that's when the drop-off for receivers typically happens. Not always, but typically. So if you're Andrew Berry and the Browns, what do you do with Amari Cooper this offseason? Extend him, try to restructure, let him go into 2024 without a new deal? He's obviously their best current receiver. But if you were Andrew Berry, what do you do with Mr. Amari Cooper?
I think in a perfect world, you extend him 1 year through next season for his ages through the 2025
Do you
season.
think he'd be good with that?
I don't know. I think he probably would want a longer term if he's going to do that. Yeah, I'm saying that's why I'm saying in a perfect world, I don't want to go 3-4 years with him.
I feel like you'd have to go 3 at least.
I would do it
I
if
could
I
be
could
wrong.
get out of the last year of the contract because
Right.
the problem is he's getting to the age where guys often go off the cliff, and sometimes it happens quickly. We've seen that a lot with wide receivers and running backs. Now, DeAndre Hopkins, we wanted him at 31, I believe, still had a great season last year. But Amari Cooper has had injuries, as Mike pointed out. I don't know if he just said it now or before the show. Amari's dealt with injuries at the end of both season, but right now the Browns have nobody else at the position that is really starting caliber. And so they've got to have him at minimum for this year. And that's why if it was my choice, I'd extend him for next year, cut the cap number down this year.
Yeah.
If I have to give him a third year, I guess I would do. I'd give him a third year before I'd let him go now. I guess is the bottom line for me.
I'm not extending him. I let it ride. I play him on this contract. They've already restructured
It's a big cap hit, though.
Yeah, I know, but they've
Okay.
already restructured him once. When they traded for him, they restructured him.
Yeah.
So he's already got an $8 million dead cap hit in 25 when he's not even supposed to be on the roster as of now. So the more that you restructure this, the more you keep kicking that can down the road, the bigger that snowball's going to get.
And they've done that on a number of
And they
players.
have, and it's like the Conklin deal we've talked about. That's going to be miserable. They've already restructured both guards. Both Teller and Batonio got restructured. They're going to have to figure something out with Chubb. With this one, with where it is, I know it's a big number, and I know I'm the one that keeps yelling about the cap probably more than anybody. But I don't think you can risk, kind of to your point. I don't know if you want to go multiple years with him. He's coming off a phenomenal year, but I talked to people at the Browns who felt like he was already on the backside when they acquired him. Now, obviously, he had a monster year this year, but I don't know that you want to keep rolling the dice and taking that chance. Bring him back for 1 year. I'd spend my top draft pick on a receiver or try and trade, although that didn't work out so well with Elijah Moore last year. But they've got to try and find another playmaking receiver to add to that room, and then hopefully, theoretically, that guy would then become the number one when Amari leaves. But I'd ride 1 more year with Amari. You already got to take that $8 million cap at $7.5 million, I think, in 2025. So just bite the bullet this year, pay him his money, keep him. Obviously, you don't want to cut him, and then roll the dice from there.
My father used to always tell me, man, taking a pitch with 2 strikes has consequences. You better go up there swinging that bat because you can't get called out of watching the 3rd strike. The Browns had an opportunity to replace and find Amari Cooper, but you swung and missed. You swung and missed on Schwartz. You swung and missed on Elijah Moore. You swung and missed on Bell. Actually, you got Cedric Tillman, and I don't even know, he ain't looked too good. So if you keep swinging and missing on all these receivers, you could have had the luxury of letting Amari Cooper go because you did a good job in scouting and bringing guys in. Guess what? You didn't. You didn't do a good job at it. So now you got to bite the bullet. Now you have to extend him, even though he may be on the back end. That's just the consequences when you don't hit what you're supposed to hit. It's the same with quarterback. Not only do they need to extend Amari Cooper, they got to go out and find another dude to punt with Amari Cooper. This ain't even a question. This not even he has to be back. Now, you can say, okay, he's a little bit on the back end. I didn't see anything about any of his explosiveness gone. I thought he did a great job with 5 or 6 different quarterbacks. He broke the singles game record for receiving yards. That doesn't mean that he's not on the back part of his career, but it shows he's still productive. Now, my thing is people will point to the injuries. Take it from a guy that's been injured 17 times. I got my first surgery when I was 18. I was still young. If you play the game of football, you are going to get injured. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 22, 21, 25. You're going to get injured and you're going to get hurt. At the end of the day, the Browns are the weakest at wide receiver, and they cannot afford to weaken that position by not going into the season and saying, let's add something to it and sign him to at least a 2-year deal.
G-Bush stole my notes.
I took time. I was like, hold on. Yeah.
You got, literally almost everything that I was going to say. You left a few things out that I had.
There you
But
go. You're welcome for those.
here's where I was going to start. Which position is the biggest position of need for the Browns next year?
Receiver.
I think that's easy. Yeah. Which position group is there the least depth at? Wide receiver. Which position is most critical to our most important player's success? Wide receiver. All answers to this question point to you have no choice. And I know you said you could let it ride, but Jay, I share your fear of what's coming. I think the years 26, 7, and 8 for the Browns are going to be really difficult years.
Be rough.
And, there's just no getting around it. There is one way to get around it, and that's if you're drafting like the LA Rams. But we haven't done that. That's not our track record. We can't suddenly expect us to start nailing 5th and 6th round picks when our track record is we can't nail 3rd round picks.
Well, in fairness, the Browns have drafted fairly well the last couple of years. Not at that position.
You can't draft fairly well when you're in the position the Browns are in.
Yeah.
We all agreed that after the Rams won their Super Bowl, it's going to be some lean years because of the trade. So I love what they did. They
I don't
went
think
into
we
the
all
Lamb.
agree, Jay, though. I think people
No,
make too big a
everybody
deal.
expected the Rams after they won the Super Bowl were going to tank. They had no draft picks.
Yeah, I know that. I just think everybody makes too big a deal about the cap.
No, I'm not even talking cap here.
Yeah.
I'm talking draft picks.
Okay, well.
Because how do you rebuild your team? Drafts, if you have space under the cap,
Yeah.
or if you have draft capital.
Right.
That's the only two ways you can do it. The Rams, I thought, executed this whole thing perfectly. How do you
picks.
Right. That's
you look at what they did with those fifth-round picks. It may be the best back-to-back fifth-round picks that I've ever seen, because they're both not good. They're both excellent players. You can argue Puka Nacua is already a top 5 receiver. So for me, when you ask all these other questions that lead up to the big one, I am so with you on the cap fear. It's coming. The day of reckoning is coming. But what we have to do is we have to look at my look at the window now is 24 and 25. That is the window. The next 2 years for the Browns, it is imperative that they win in that window.
What they could do, Jason, is let it ride this year, see what happens, and then you could always re-sign Cooper at the end of next year.
Absolutely.
He's already. It's not like he's a free agent. We're not saying
he's
should they
not.
bring Amari
Right.
Cooper back or not. No, obviously you have to bring him back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't touch the contract. Let it ride.
Yeah.
Let him play out
Deal
this
with it
year.
next year.
And if he has another monster year like this, okay, well then we're going to have to revisit this.
Yeah.
But for right now,
If they restructure-
I don't want to keep kicking this thing down the road.
If they restructure, can they get more cap space? If they
Sure.
restructure?
Yeah.
In the short term,
In the short term, but he's already got an $8 million dead cap hit.
At the
so
end.
$8 million is gone from their 25 cap,
Yeah.
even if he's not on the team.
You're saying they're better off taking the cap hit on him this year. 24.
Just pay it.
Rather than
And
just
pay
it.
more kicks
So,
down the road.
I
Because
also
you're
think
probably
that-
going to have to restructure Deshaun. You're probably going to do that again.
And that I'm expecting that's going to happen because I don't see how he can carry that big a number. into the
64
season.
million.
It will choke the team's.
So you know you're
success.
restructuring that one.
Yeah.
You've already restructured, like I said, Bitonio, Teller.
And those all come with a price
Miles.
later.
And-
You're
and-
probably going to restructure Chubb too to add. To
Oh,
the
you have to
You have to.
restructure Chubb. You're not paying him $16
So
million.
I think the way I'm looking at it, and then please correct me if I'm wrong, but the Browns, you always look at a window. Teams.
their window's right now. There's no question.
I think their window is next year because obviously it's closed from the 22-23, but based on the Deshaun trade, to me I felt like okay they've got to do it in the first 4 years because all of those can kicks on the cap, restructuring deals, the Pied Piper is lurking. He's not knocking on the door yet, but he's coming.
Well, that all depends in the end on how good Deshaun Watson is.
It does, right? Well, see,
Because
if he's
you
not
have a
great,
great
they're not
quar-
going to win anyhow.
Right. If the Chiefs' window is never closed.
As
It
long as
never
they have
will be
Patrick
closed.
Mahomes, it's
Right.
open.
So,
And you could argue that Burrow as well. I mean, as long as Chase and Burrow are in Cincinnati, I think their window's open.
I feel you can't. This is unique. I do understand when you say you got a franchise quarterback in that the window's always open.
Yeah.
Not in this AFC. No.
Well,
No.
by
No.
window, we don't mean they're going to be a favorite. We
No,
just mean that
you
they're
just
going to
have
be
a chance.
listed.
No,
As long
legit-
as Mahomes is on the Kansas City roster,
they're the favorites.
they're going to be in the top 3 teams to
Yeah,
win
100%.
the AFC.
So you're talking about the Browns specifically.
Yes, I'm talking about the Browns.
No,
Yeah.
the Browns don't jump into that.
They don't those other teams are positioned at a uniquely strong point because of the fact that they already have those pieces. We trying to get the pieces, right? Their quarterback has already been up and running. We just trying to get our quarterback started.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the Browns, I look at it like, hey, you got next year, and you might have the year after that, because this year was supposed to be it. If you look at what
Well,
they
I
had.
thought it was going to. I don't know about it. I still think 24-25, even after the trade.
I thought this year.
This year was
I didn't think coming into this season that even if everybody had stayed healthy, Chubb and Watson had a better year than we expected, I didn't have them in my top 4.
If
in the
Deshaun
AFC.
Watson had played at Houston level this year, they could have won the Super Bowl.
That is the
without a
biggest
doubt.
if, though. If your
Of
aunt
course,
had
but-
wheels, she'd be a bike.
Well, that's not fair because Deshaun Watson.
What had we seen
That's
from
the
him?
reason the Browns traded for him.
But
they
It
hoped to
is,
get that.
but we had a 6-game sample size from last year that we knew what he was now.
Right, but going into this year, it had only been 6 bad games. going into this year.
Well, that overshadowed. It tainted my view of things.
And you can't. And we talked to what's today. We talked to Bernie. You can't underestimate not playing for years. Like that's like somebody being a pitcher, not pitching for 2 years.
But we saw it with Joe Flacco.
Well, look, you got to think about it like this though as well. There's a unique set of circumstances with Joe Flacco, and even with Joe Flacco, we found out that Joe Flacco has some limitations to what he could do.
And they were the same ones he had before.
And so, yeah. So,
right, but our expectations for Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson were not the same.
No, they weren't.
The ceiling,
Joe exceeded them.
The gap between Deshaun Watson at his peak and Joe Flacco at his peak is different.
I would give you that, yeah. But I can't really hear the rust argument anymore because of what Joe did.
We were taking the rust argument like last year. This year.
Right. He didn't get that. To me, he didn't get that pass this year.
No,
everybody kept saying,
no.
Well, he had a long layoff. No. He played 6 straight games.
He had the
if that
OTAs.
isn't enough runway to get you back in the air, then you're not going to get back in the air.
So
let me ask you guys this right now. Right now, just off the top of your head, I'm gonna give you the 16 quarterbacks in the AFC that are likely starters this year. Some teams it may not be certain.
For next year.
And you tell me for the next 3 years, would you rather have Deshaun Watson, based on all the information we have right now, would you rather have Deshaun Watson or this guy?
Okay.
So contracts count.
Forget the contract. Forget contract.
That's a big part of it, man.
Well,
That is a big part of it. So we just went from reality to
Because
fantasy.
that's the world we're living in.
I know, but I just want to base it on just their play. Just their play.
All right.
Just
That'd be
their
hard
play.
for
If
me.
you could take them, just their play. Or they all have the same contract.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow right out of the way.
Okay.
We're taking all 3 of those, and no one's even going to debate
Tua.
that. Give me Deshaun.
I ain't even no fan of Tua. Give me Watson, bro.
I'm taking Tua.
I think Tua is a product of his receivers.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I'll take Deshaun.
I know what Tua looked like before his receivers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Deshaun.
Give me Watson.
Yeah.
Deshaun. Patriots have nobody, so he's
Yeah.
ahead of
So
that.
give me Deshaun.
Lamar Jackson.
That's
Lamar
easy.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
The Steelers situation. We take them. We take him.
Yep.
C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud. No question.
Yeah.
You going Stroud?
Dang, bro. Yeah, I got to at this point.
Trevor Lawrence.
After that smoke show. I'm going to take
Give
Watson.
me Deshaun.
Give me
Give me
Watson.
Deshaun.
I take Lawrence.
I've never been high on Lawrence.
Nor have I.
Give me Watson. I see him.
For a minute, I turned on him last year. I thought, okay, maybe this guy is what everybody told me he was.
Yeah.
But he told me again this year what he really
all
is.
them picks.
Anthony Richardson.
Come on.
Give me Deshaun.
I take Watson.
Long term, I take Richardson.
Oh, really?
I ain't seen
For
it.
right now,
Yeah.
like if we're talking today,
Next couple of years.
I'll take Deshaun.
Yeah.
But boy, I think that one's going to be
Watson.
a lot closer
Man.
than you think.
Will Levis.
I think he's really
Watson.
good.
Watson.
Watson, yeah.
I don't even know who the Raiders quarterback is, so we'll take Watson there.
Yep.
It's Garoppolo.
Yep. Watson.
I'll take.
Yeah, but Garoppolo got benched and didn't play at the end of the
Yeah,
season.
he's done.
We don't know who Denver's
I would
starting
still take him
quarterback.
over-
We'll take him over Denver.
Russ,
The Raiders-
Russ.
Russ,
I said Russ during the season, but I'd take Watson.
Watson.
Wait, Russ is done in Denver.
I know.
Yeah,
But we got to fit him somewhere.
got-
Whatever.
Okay.
He has to,
Okay, I would
And then,
still- I would
and
say
then
Watson.
Herbert, I would take.
Yeah,
Herbert.
I'd take Herbert.
So
he's middle of the pack.
definitive.
I counted 8 quarterbacks.
I think I would take Russ. If we're not counting contracts, I'd take Russ.
No, I ain't taking Russ.
The
Even with his age.
the ones
If
we're
we're
in,
talking about right now,
Okay.
the ones we're in agreement on: Herbert, Mahomes, Stroud, Burrow, Lamar, and Allen. There were 6 that we were in
I
agreement.
thought there was
on.
another one in there.
Mahomes.
I said Mahomes.
Oh, I thought I missed it.
Mahomes, Burrow,
Chargers, Chiefs,
Allen,
Texans,
Jackson.
Bengals,
Stroud.
Ravens, and and that's it. And Buffalo. So the 6.
Yeah.
The 6. I had a couple of. So you had him 7th. You had him 7th. I think you had him
probably
8th.
about 8th.
And I think I had him 9th.
Okay, so that's look, we might ask us at the end of next year, and that could change dramatically.
That ain't actually too bad. That
Well, but here's the thing. It's not bad, but we didn't bring him here to be not too bad.
Yeah.
We didn't bring him here to be 8th in the AFC.
Yeah.
We brought him here to be top 2 in the AFC.
Hence, you better get me 3 receivers.
Hence,
I need all of
You
that.
can't punt on Amari. You can't. He had, I don't want to call it a career year this year because that would be unfair. I think he had a career high in receiving yards, but he had 17 games to do it. I
was
know he's
definitely-
had
it was a
seasons
career
where he's
year
had
for
more
Amari.
touchdowns than what he had this year. I think he just had 5 touchdowns.
I'm with
this year.
Mike. I think it's career year.
It was a
I don't
career
know
year.
because I think didn't he have double-digit touchdowns one year or very close?
This is his career ranks this season. So 76 receptions was 6th, the most receiving yards. Receiving touchdowns was tied for 6th, and his yards per catch.
Yards per catch is crazy. 17
Yeah,
a
no,
catch.
that's really impressive. I would say this, though. On the yards, he did have a 17th game to get him there.
But he didn't play
No,
in
he
the
didn't
17th
play.
game.
Well, but how many times has he missed a game or two here or there throughout his career?
So
I don't know.
he played 15 games this year.
That's nice.
He has
the
played
Jets
at
game,
least
too.
15 in all but 3 years of his career.
Okay.
He had 5 touchdowns. The most he ever had was last year, actually, when he had 9.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was a record last year for him.
So last year he played 2 more games, had 90 less yards, 4 more touchdowns in 2 less games.
I mean, it's safe to say this with Amari Cooper. There has been no decline.
No.
Not measurable yet. And if you go off of that information, I think it's in the discussion for a career year. So because of that, I'm even more inclined to bet that it's not going to happen next year. It may happen 2 years from now, but
Well, that's what you're extending him into.
I know it is.
You're
However,
extending him into the cliff.
the way I'm looking at this, if I'm Andrew Berry, I'm looking at my realistic window based on all the other contracts, the age of all my other superstars, where we are and where we're going to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. I think, look, the window may well still be open in 27. It might be. Or 26, because I think it's going to be open 24 and 25. I think you've got to win in the next 2 years. Maybe it extends to 26. But you touched on the other of my points. The Browns don't have the luxury of not having Amari Cooper on this roster for at least 2 more years because they didn't get it right in the draft.
To this point, they haven't. They have to overdo it. I mean, I'd like to see them go get. We've talked about these free agent wide receivers. We know some of them are going to be franchised, but not all of them. There's 6 really good wide receivers.
Who's the Lions receiver? I read a piece yesterday. This is the guy the Browns are most likely to target.
Is it Reynolds?
A Lions.
DPJ?
What?
DPJ?
That's it.
The Lions?
No, it
Josh
was. I think it
Reynolds?
was their number. He had 850 yards receiving, I think. So call up the Lions receivers. Was it Murphy? Do they have a Murphy?
I think it's about Josh Reynolds.
When I saw
Reynolds,
yeah,
I think
Josh Reynolds.
Reynolds.
That's who it was. It was Reynolds.
he's
the
not a
article
number
was
one by
this
any
is
means.
this is the perfect fit for the Browns.
I don't agree with that.
It talked about his numbers, how he was underutilized because of the other receivers the Lions have, and he was just a guy that he felt fit the Browns skill set and need.
That sounded a lot like Elijah Moore.
Yeah, 850 yardage.
I don't know what it was. Well,
He had 600 yards last year on
Okay.
40
Yeah.
catches.
Okay.
Now, Josh
Listen.
Reynolds is an Aggie. He's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
He's 6'4".
What do you
runs
know about
fast.
him then?
I mean, he's old. I wasn't there. He's been in the league for a while. He's 28. Was
I don't
drafted
want
in
anything.
17.
I mean, he's fine if you brought him in as your 3rd receiver.
Well, what are the top name free agent wide
the
receivers?
biggest
next year?
names are Michael Pittman for the Colts,
Well, I love him.
T. Higgins from
Mike
the Bengals,
Evans.
Who
Mike-
will likely be franchised?
Mike Evans from Tampa Bay, Calvin Ridley from Jacksonville, Mike Williams from the Chargers, and Marquise Brown from the Cardinals. I mean, not all of those guys will get to free agency, but those guys are all huge upgrades for number 2 wide receiver.
Now, if
Mike Evans is the number 1,
If-
and so is T. Higgins.
So 2 things.
And Michael Pittman.
One, the cap is jumping significantly next
Yeah,
year. It's
it is.
going, I think, 240 is the number, and it was around 220 this year. So it's a pretty big leap.
Yeah.
So you can look at that and say, well, you can handle a big contract like Amari. Now, the flip side of those names you just mentioned, if the Browns get in on one of those guys and you have to restructure Amari in order to do it, then I guess you, in that instance, you do it, and you hold your breath and hope for the best. And if it blows up on you in 2025, well, you've got one of these other guys to fall back on.
If they're going to play in that lane of the T. Higgins, Pittmans, Evans, then I think the smart move is to do what you said
And let it ride.
Let it ride.
Because then if you sign T. Higgins for 4 years or 3 years, then you have a bridge to get you.
And I would still draft a wide receiver in the 2nd round.
Well, you have to.
But what if you need to restructure him to fit that guy? Here's where we're flipping.
Well,
no, you're right. So that is
now you have to
do it.
restructure.
That is a refinance. That is not. That's a refinance.
And 44% interest.
Yes.
Now, if you sign Mike Evans, that's not going to be a long deal because he's older.
He's older. I think he's older than Amari Cooper.
But
I can't believe
Pittman are only like 24, 25
I can't
years
believe
old.
the Colts are going to let Pittman go. I just can't.
I don't think the Colts are going to let Pittman go. I don't think the Bengals are going to let T. Higgins go. I just don't.
I think
Evans might be the most realistic.
Why would you
I
start-
think Mike, but he's older. I think Mike Williams, Calvin Ridley, and or Marquise Brown are probably.
Mike Williams scares the hell out of me.
That's the problem is he's had so many injuries.
He's getting injured take it from him who I seem to have him on my fantasy team every year. I'm like, dang, you had it again.
I think
He's on your do not draft list.
Yes, I know Calvin Ridley didn't have an amazing season with Jacksonville. He was good, not great. I don't know what his final numbers were. He was a little disappointing this year.
Just over 1,000 yards.
Okay, so he still had 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley and Marquise Brown, who I think both of those guys will get to free agency, those guys would both be perfect number twos to play with Amari Cooper. Because they're both speed guys.
Your mantra, your new hat for next year is Operation Overkill?
Operation Stockpile.
Okay, stockpile. Operation Stockpile. Based off of that, I think you have to draft a receiver with your
100%.
first pick, which is unfortunately not until 56 or 58.
Hey, and if they have to
54.
be aggressive, move up if you can.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
This receiver draft is loaded, by the way.
I know
Okay.
it is. It's a good, which it helps us.
That's
so maybe
good.
that's gives them incentive
Would
to
you
move
trade
up.
Greg
But
Newsome to move up?
they
in the
have
draft?
to do
100%.
this coming off season.
Would you say run that back?
There you go.
Run
Would
that
you say-
right on right there.
I
Run that
mentioned that a
back.
few weeks ago. Trade Greg Newsome to move up
you
in the
move-
draft.
would you
I
trade
would
Greg
100%
Newsome to
do
move
that.
up?
Yep, no
And
question.
as much as we're down on Newsome for that last playoff game, he's still a good corner, and there's
He has
teams
value.
that could help.
He has
That would
value.
want him.
I don't think he's got a ton of value right now.
You're going to
But he
get
has
more
some
for
value.
He has some.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
he was a first-round pick, and he hasn't been a disaster.
No. Not
Couldn't
at
you
all.
trade Greg Newsome in a late second rounder to move up earlier in the second round?
Oh,
I mean,
for
I think
sure.
you could do that.
Yeah, you could
hopefully,
move up for
hopefully
sure.
you could maybe get
Move into the end of the first
into
round.
the 30s. You
Yeah.
know, either
Hey,
high.
We're going
late
to. Are
one
we
or
going
early
to?
two.
Well, I don't want to step on that because that's our next segment. One thing, just quickly before we go, I believe that the Browns this offseason have to do at wide receiver what they did last year on the
100%.
the interior
100%.
of the
Yes, sir.
defensive line.
Yes, sir.
You have to address that. No more. We like our receiver room.
No,
they
no.
lied to us when they said that, or they are even worse than we thought at assessing talent at that position.
Yeah, my only concern that they might not do that is they're kind of they're not going to cut David Bell after 2 years, especially when he showed a little progress at the end of the year.
I'm ready
They're
to
not
move
going
on.
to cut Cedric Tillman after 1 year, and they just traded for Elijah Moore.
I've seen nothing from those two guys. That
No,
show
I
me
agree.
That they're,
I'm
pro-
just-
they're
you
professional.
Upgrade where you are weakest.
should.
And if there's a casualty like a David Bell,
They could
so
move
be
on
it.
from Bell.
That's
they could,
true.
They could move on.
Yeah,
from
that's
Bell.
Yeah, I'm good with
Bell's
that.
had 2 years, and even though he played good against Cincinnati, it's
He
a
had
2-year
moments.
track record.
Well, Goodwin's not going to be back.
No.
We'll
or
talk about that
Godwin,
one sec, though,
and,
yeah.
and so
No,
they,
it's Goodwin.
All right,
He won't be
it
back.
is Goodwin. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Chris
we're going to move
Godwin,
on to
Marquise.
the
Yeah,
free
exactly.
agents. Will they stay? Will they go? After a quick word from FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapped up, but there's still plenty of time to get in on the playoff action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed just by placing a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And the best part about FanDuel, it's so easy to use, guys. They have live same-game parlays. They can find bets in the new Explorer tab. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best and easiest way to find popular parlays, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And if you have a winning ticket, make sure you send it to us on Twitter or email it to me at mlucas2@tegna.com. Guys, the Browns have 26 upcoming free agents this offseason. Some guys who played in 2024 or 2023, some guys who barely saw the field at all. So we'll run through these quickly.
That's half the roster.
We'll run through it quickly. I'll give you a name, Happy Face, if you think, not whether they should, but if you think he will be back in 2024. And Sad Face if you think he'll be on another team.
essentially-
Not what we would do. It's what we think the Browns are going to
We're going to play Andrew Berry.
The whole show today is playing Andrew Berry with Amari Cooper and this. You guys are in Andrew Berry's shoes.
All right.
Well,
Ready?
not really, Mike, because we're not doing what we would do as Andrew Berry. We're doing what we think Andrew
Yes.
Berry would do.
Yeah, you're wearing Andrew Berry's shoes.
Because my
Walk a mile
answers
in
would be
shoes.
different, I think.
Right.
on some-
Yeah, no,
on
this is
some.
what you think Andrew Berry will do.
Will do.
Not what you would personally do.
Okay.
Let's start with Zadarius Smith.
So many rules.
Too many rules.
Happy Face stays,
This is really
Sad Face
hard.
goes.
This is like one of the hardest ones for me. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
This was one of the easiest ones for me.
This is hard. He's a free agent.
yeah.
They're all free agent sheet. That's the point.
I think Darius is going over the cliff.
I think you gave some numbers when we signed him, and I put those out because I didn't want to believe that was true.
Yeah, but it showed.
But they don't.
Why do you think they
it's-
might bring him back?
Because it's sort of like where they were with Clowney the year before. They don't, unless you believe Alex Wright is ready.
Yeah, but they got Ogbo too, and he was pretty good.
He's not in every down.
Yeah,
Ogbo's
but
not in every
between
down.
Alex Wright and Ogbo, you could bring in another veteran free agent in the mix there.
I don't think he's coming back, but I do sense a little bit of the Clowney situation, and Clowney was a disaster in year 2.
I agree with that.
Disaster in year 2, but I asked this at the time when they released him. Is it a chance that he's got this right and the Browns are at fault? And everybody's like, no, he's got to go. He's cancer. He's got to go. And at the end of the year, Joe Woods went.
Yeah.
And I read a piece this morning. The Ravens are in the championship game in large part because Jadeveon Clowney's rebirth. I thought, that way you would look good in the
I
Browns
think he
uniform.
still had to go from
Like,
here.
go
but-
back to Tennessee and ask him about Jadeveon Clowney. Go back to Houston and
What-
ask him about
what was
Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep.
I think
Because they're loving him in Baltimore right now.
Okay. Well,
Did we, after 1 year, were they saying good things after his 9.5 sack year? Because I never heard any whispers of him being a problem.
So I think he's one of those guys that he reads the room. He reads the room when he gets there, and he wants to see, okay, can I get away with this or can I?
Oh, interesting.
You go to Baltimore, they're not letting him get away with that. Like, what are you talking about?
Mike Vrabel told him to go away twice.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
Like, that tells me what I need
Now,
to know.
Mike's tough.
Yeah,
You know
but
that.
I mean, if Jadeveon goes back to Baltimore next year, it very well could end like he plays on a different team every year for a reason.
He's a hired gun.
Yeah, he's a mercenary.
Yeah, he is.
So, and that's how he was described.
But I
to
just
me.
think what we got out of Smith, I remember the day we signed him and the mood on this set.
It was
We were doing
huge.
victory laps. We were spiking footballs.
And by the way,
I never saw
and he
that
was just
player.
a guy here.
He was just a guy.
If Zadarius Smith would have played the way we were to our excitement level, the Cleveland Browns would possibly be still playing right now.
Bull warned us, though. Bull
warned
said
you.
he went back and looked at the 2022 season.
Second half went off the cliff.
He nosedived after the first half of the season.
I just didn't. I didn't. I'm like, where's your pass rush moves, dog?
Yeah, no,
like
nothing.
he just was like over there. Like, and the Browns still need to get another defensive end. They just,
So we
they
all
give
agree
him-
that Zadarius
Yeah, he's gone.
is gone.
All agree. Next, one of his fellow defensive line mates. How about Shelby Harris? Do you think he'll be back next season, or do you think he'll be a free agent?
I think Shelby's gone.
He'll be cheap, right?
Yeah.
He knows the system, and he had moments. So I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes.
I think because he fits a role, and he's going to be cheap.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feeling either way. I could easily see him walking.
Yeah,
I could
I'm
too.
with you. I'm not real strong, but if I got a pick here,
But
I think they'll bring him back.
If it's a 1-year deal, similar money to what he had this year,
Yeah,
sure.
I could see a path.
Because I didn't see nothing from Siaki Ika that tells me he's the next Haloti Nada. I don't
Yeah, no.
So
Not yet.
Not yet. Like he got some work to do. So nah, I'll bring him back.
I mentioned this when we did this a couple weeks ago in the fast version. Harris's durability is a reason I think there's a good chance he comes
could
back.
be back.
He, for a defensive
But I got
tackle,
no.
never really misses games. All right, next up, how about Taki? Filled in admirably.
He had another
Linebacker role.
defensive lineman. You skipping a linebacker now?
It bounces all over.
I don't like that.
Hey, look.
I said no on Shelby Harris because I was going to say yes on the other defensive tackle. But
Well, we're going to
okay.
get to him. Don't worry. All 26
he's on
are
the
this
list.
Yeah. All right. See, I'd be very surprised if Taki's not
I
back.
would too.
He's back because Anthony Walker probably.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
This is your new
That's-
starting Mike.
and that is-
New
yeah.
starting Mike
the,
backer.
That was
Yeah.
the logic that I used too, right there.
And he was he's better inside than he was outside.
What do we
So-
think they're going to have to pay him? $8 million a year? $10 million a year?
I don't think
I
that
was
much.
talking about
No,
that.
not
That's
that
too
much.
much. That's
And
too
we
much.
know the Browns don't really value linebackers. They don't spend a lot of money at that position. If I'm Taki, I want to come back.
Maybe
I want to
three-
play
maybe
another
3 for
year in the
18.
Jim Schwartz system.
Actually, Bull, I saw his contract, and when I read it, it said Minimowski.
I mean, he's going to get something. He's played pretty well.
I think he'll get more than it's obviously
maybe
his
$6
rookie
million a
deal.
year.
I'd give him the Anthony Walker deal. I'm looking up to see what Walker.
Wasn't that 1 year, 6?
I-
maybe a
Wasn't
multi-year
it
though.
$6 million?
I would do
Same
that
money.
too.
That's
Maybe 3 years, 18 mil,
I'd be
10
fine with
guaranteed,
that.
something
Yeah,
like that.
something
That'd be
like
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Shoot.
Next up, Joe Flacco. Not should he, in your opinion.
This
You're
is the
Andrew
hardest
Berry
one.
here. Do you think he'll be back? Yes or no?
This the hardest one.
2 no's. Jason and Jay on the no side.
Joe and I
Both
are buddies
thinking
now
hard.
after our
Yeah,
conversation.
I know.
It's
So you have
Bull's
more
best
insight
friend.
than any of us.
Let me give you,
Joe really liked it here. He really, it meant so much to him the way the fans reacted to him.
But if New Orleans calls and says we're going
But
to give you $6 million,
I think some team that has a worse quarterback situation than the Browns will sign him.
that's
So,
exactly why I think he won't be back. I think Joe wants to come back. I actually think the Browns want him back. Talked to Jim yesterday about some different things off the air. I do think that the Browns would like him back. I just think there's going to be too big of a market for him.
Man, this is going to suck. I don't think Barry's going to do it. And I'm going to go on the opposite side of the spectrum. Andrew Barry has foresight. Y'all, the fans is a bunch of liars. Y'all be lying. I be seeing y'all be lying. Everybody be like, no. If Deshaun's playing poorly, we'll definitely still support Deshaun if Flacco's on the right. Liars. The second that man throw a couple picks, let him play 2 or 3 games, they're going to have Flacco. They're going to be talking about we need to get him on the bench. We just put Joe back in. I don't understand. Andrew Barry understands that you guys are liars, and he's not going to go down that route. Joe, I appreciate that.
Then he's underestimating the mental strength of his quarterback.
Well,
and that's what he's doing.
Who cares how the fans' reaction is?
I don't care about that either. But if Andrew Barry believes I can't bring him back because it could be toxic for the locker room,
that's bad.
Then that tells me that he does not have a strong opinion of Deshaun Watson's mental strength.
Or
because a good quarterback wouldn't give a rat's ass. He's making $60 million.
It's not even.
No one should be looking over their shoulder less than him.
You're saying it's the teammates, right?
It's the whole locker room. It's not even the quarterback. That's part of it. I absolutely believe part of it because I've been on record and I still believe you can't bring him back because. Number one, they're chanting Joe Flacco's name.
Facts.
They love this man.
What are you
in the
talking
city,
about?
And they don't like Deshaun. They
Yes.
don't like him. There's
don't
a
like
large
him.
portion of the fan base. I'm not going to say it's the majority. I'm not going to put a percentage on it. But I think we can all agree there's a large fraction of this fan base
based on how
that
he's
doesn't
played.
even like him.
I always say this. Fans don't care about anything but win.
Yes.
Oh, no.
In Pittsburgh, they didn't give a rat's ass that Ben had a bad track record with some outside the game stuff.
Not with this one, Jay. You can get that off. If you drafted him, he is seen as an outsider.
He's still a member of the Browns. If he wins, they're going to love this guy. But he's got to win.
If Deshaun played great and went 12-5 and he played all the games,
it
playing
will be
lights
his
out,
city.
Most of the fans would come around.
Yes.
Now, I agree with G. There'd be a higher percentage that still would
25,
like him
25
than Ben Roethlisberger.
Ooh, 25.
I said 20 the other day, but
you're right because he has no deposits in the bank.
Right.
He just got here.
Listen,
and he
that's
got
part
here.
of the equation.
the only way he'd get 99%
Win a Super Bowl.
is if he won a Super Bowl.
But ultimately, I still think the biggest reason you can't bring him back is because of the locker room. Because there are guys in that locker room. If Deshaun has 2 or 3 bad games in a row, it's going to. Tyrese has told you that. I've talked to other players who say that.
Aren't you underselling the guys in the locker room then?
It's
Wait,
a reality.
let me ask you this. Myles Garrett wouldn't have a right to say if Deshaun is performing poorly, and I'm not even saying it, I would say worse than he did last year. If Deshaun played at the level that he played this year, no one's screaming for Joe Flacco.
But
the Baltimore game, Deshaun Watson on the Monday after the Baltimore game, before we heard the news of his shoulder,
we were all feeling good
newsroom was
about it.
more abuzz on that day than any day in my 5 years here.
Sure.
They were going nuts. Everybody had Deshaun Watson fever.
because there was no viable option behind him.
Well, why would you need a viable option if he plays like that? I don't care who's behind him if he plays like that.
In the movie, one of the great movies I love, Drumline. One band, one sound. You can't have two.
Yeah.
And you can't give people another option behind him. Think about it.
We got to have a backup quarterback. So you want to have someone who's terrible just so everybody in the locker room's happy with that.
Listen,
that's not going to work, guys.
I go back to Ohio State.
That's the second most important position on the team.
I go back to Ohio State. Ask Cardell Jones. I told Cardell, you should have went to the league. When you got J.T. Barrett, when you got Braxton Miller, you got Cardell Jones, you had a team that was ready to go 2-3 championships in a row. But what happens, Jay, is when I noticed something, them fans, I've never seen the Cleveland Browns fans embrace a person other than Baker Mayfield like they embrace Flacco. That Jets game that he played was almost as big as the Jets game when the beer fridge was open.
Never seen.
And both were Thursday nights, and I was in the stadium for both, and I would absolutely agree with exactly what you said.
We've never seen a guy who was disliked in Cleveland be embraced like that. I mean, that's never happened.
That's crazy. He played for our rival.
But to your earlier, there's a big gap between Flacco and you're going to have a terrible backup quarterback. Maybe they bring Jacoby back. Jacoby's going to be at a lower number next year because he didn't play this year.
Listen, if they can go get Jacoby, then Joe Flacco is not an option. He's not in the conversation.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, Jacoby is not a threat to the locker room.
But here's what by your definition and yours, you're like, I don't want a good backup quarterback.
No.
That could make things.
No, I don't want that guy.
I want the best backup quarterback they can get.
But
and feelings be damned.
But
We're in this thing to win it. And the second most important position on the roster is the backup quarterback.
The exercise is not what I would do. This is what Andrew Berry would do. And for me, Andrew Berry has already got the marching orders. To me, Haslam's like, listen.
Well, we all agree he's not coming back.
Haslam's like, hey, we got Deshaun Watson. I know they love Joe Flacco, but I'm going to stop this before it even starts.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Flacco, where he ends up.
But I would bring him back personally.
All right, Mike.
In a vacuum, I would love to have him back. In reality, I don't think it's possible. In a vacuum, though, sure, of course you'd love to have him back. But if you could go get, and I don't want to spend much more time on it, but if you do want to burn 3 roster spots, 3 spots on the 53 on a quarterback, you do want to go get another veteran, there's plenty of others out there. Again, there's Jacoby. There's other options.
I think
that you
they're
can
of the
get
mindset.
without being Flacco.
You would know better than me. I think we're rolling with DTR. We drafted him.
They may feel
our
differently, though,
backup
after the way the season went.
Can you ask, there's fans out there, ask the fans, do you feel like Deshaun Watson and Flacco could coexist?
We did the other day when we did the discussion on that after the.
What was the
What's the answer?
It was like 75-25. Yeah, they can.
I mean, listen. Put on your big boy pants.
Yeah.
One band, one sound. Here's the sound. Let's go win a Super Bowl. And the way the locker room embraced Joe Flacco last year was all well and good. But trust me, on that first day of training camp, 2024, this will unquestionably, as it should be Deshaun Watson's team. Right. And if Joe Flacco's in camp, everybody would look at Joe completely different. That's our insurance policy. But when a team has a Super Bowl window or a window to win, and you neglect a position like the backup quarterback, don't cry to me next year if DTR comes in and plays 6 games because Deshaun's hurt and he's awful.
So do you think Joe Flacco at 40 years old is the best backup quarterback in the NFL?
He was the best one I saw this year. I can't project how he's going to look next year.
Because you're making it sound like it has to be Flacco or else they're not going to have a good backup
quarterback.
What
I'm saying is, as I'm putting together a roster, I owe it to the fan base and all the other guys on the roster to put the best player in that position I possibly can, with all the constraints being factored into the equation.
But Jay, what Jason's saying is that this is maybe not even an issue between Flacco and Watson. It's that they can't help it. If there are some players that feel that Flacco is better for the team, it could cause some dissension within the team.
So let me ask you this:
and they'd be better off with another veteran backup, even if he's slightly not as good as Joe Flacco.
One that doesn't threaten Deshaun as much.
Well, it's not about threatening Deshaun. It's about.
I think all of this. is about
Joe was terrific for those 6 games, and we all had a great time.
He threw a ton of picks, as much as we love him.
And was awful when we needed him to be.
I'm going to keep going back to Jacoby Brissett. Is there really a mammoth drop off from Joe Flacco to Jacoby Brissett?
I don't think so, but I didn't see Jacoby play this year. I can tell you, based on the Jacoby we saw in the Browns offense in 22 and the Flacco we saw in the Browns offense in 23, there's a huge drop.
There's a big difference because Jacoby's not going to take the chances that Flacco does. So he's not going to make the big plays Flacco does. He's also not going to throw as many picks as Flacco.
And we were 4-7.
Yeah.
It was lightning in a bottle with Joe. It was great. I don't know how sustainable it is.
All right, you want to get to the next one, Mike?
Let's go to another Browns backup quarterback this season. Harrison Bryant, you bring him back?
Backup quarterback.
I think the Browns will bring him back.
Yeah, they'll bring him back.
He's a perfectly nice number 2
He's a great number 2 tight end.
Yeah. He's got a use in this offense.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's going to bring him back.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys got the joke about the backup quarterback.
Yeah. I did. I like
listening. Obviously, he's a tight end, but he took the 4th and 1 sneaks. Okay, glad that's out of the way. Next up, Marquise Goodwin, a guy we did not see much of this season due to injury. Would you take another flyer or no?
No. They need upgrades. He's one of the spots they need to get a better player.
He had a moment. He gave us one moment.
The Bears game.
Yeah.
I'll say this. We need someone with that kind of speed.
Yeah, but who can play more.
And who can be a legitimate threat.
Yeah,
like
all the
when
time.
you saw number 3 on the field, there were alarm bells going off on the defense because everybody knew what was coming. He was in there for one reason. Either to take an end around, 2 reasons, or to take a deep shot and stretch the field. That was it.
Next up, Jordan Elliott, who had a bit of a renaissance this season with the Browns. Tough one.
Yeah, I'm bringing him back.
I think he's going to bring him back. Although he didn't draft Jordan Elliott, right? He was drafted, I think, the year before.
I can't remember on that. I don't know. It feels like
did draft.
I feel like he did
Oh,
draft him.
That was his
Yeah, he
first
did.
draft?
Yeah, I feel like he
Third
did.
round. Yeah.
Then okay. Then
And
he-
I think he. Who said the Renaissance? Was it you? That's
yeah,
a
I
good
mean,
way
he
of
had a
putting
nice season. He's not going to cost a ton of money, so I think they'll bring him back.
Next up, the punter, Corey Bjorkes.
Yes.
Yeah, man, he played,
Big leg and
they'll
got
probably
better
resign
at
him.
directional kicks and touchbacks late in the season, or before he got hurt. The last couple games for him were not good, but before
had a
the
couple-
injury, he
he had a
showed
couple
signs
ducks.
of getting better at back spinning it and putting it down inside the 5.
I mean, if he doesn't have the strongest leg in the NFL, it's top 5.
he booms the ball.
Yeah, they're not going to.
He had some punts that traveled 80 yards in the
Although
air.
I think somebody should, and maybe the Browns signed the punt god. That guy's been blackballed from the league.
Can you believe that he is not in the league still?
I mean, the league
he
blackballed
got
Colin
cleared
Kaepernick, so I can
mid-season,
believe
so-
everything.
He'll be.
I guess.
I bet you he'll be in a camp next year.
Yeah, he should
God,
be.
how can he not?
the NFL is, blackballing is their thing.
That is their thing. They like.
They get
blackball.
reporters and players.
But you know what? He was definitively cleared.
I know.
And to me, I guess, you know what? You could say the same for Trevor Bauer. The big question in baseball this year is he going to be on a roster?
Well,
I don't know that Trevor Bauer's been definitively cleared like this guy.
The evidence that we have seen leads us to believe more likely than not it was a participatory
In this
thing
one-
on her behalf too.
In that one case,
on this one.
on that one case,
Yeah.
she was lying.
There's other cases, and now I believe consenting adults. I don't care what you do if it was consenting adults.
Sure. Do what you
but there
think,
are
do your
some
thing.
people who will think what he did, even if it was consenting, is not something they want to be associated with.
Bauer's also a lot older than this punt god we're talking about, who's
Yes.
a rookie,
Right, right.
essentially.
Yeah.
And also a better track record though.
Yeah, but I think Bauer's.
obviously nobody's
I think he's
interested.
throwing
But
his
what
last
shocks
pitch
me
in
with the
MLB.
punt god is he was definitively cleared. Like
Yeah.
there was no
Yeah,
more smoke
100%.
around him.
It was
He
one
was
incident,
cleared,
and he was completely
and-
cleared.
But
But
they done scared y'all off the trail. Ain't nobody going like now. Every day is like, look, all right, I can come out and we could do a story about him. But then, do you want the blowback? I could.
But once you get, I mean, it's a story of the day you sign him, and he's got to
And then
come
it's
out
done.
and he's got to do the scrum, and he's got to answer everything, and then it's probably he's a punter. It's probably over.
yeah.
By the
after
way,
that.
speaking of Bauer, it wasn't that long ago that the rotation was Bauer and Kluber
Oh, man.
and Clevenger, and all those guys are like done basically.
Well-
Clevenger's nobody
Carrasco.
signed him yet,
and Carrasco, who is
and
head of-
Carrasco, he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Clevenger's.
Or is
I thought
Carrasco
this the
free
first
agent?
time I saw Clevenger at
Yeah.
spring training, and I loved his stuff. I'm like,
Loved
that
him.
div-
Can't
that,
stay healthy.
That
Somebody will sign
delivery
him. He'll get
is
signed.
so violent.
I heard
and
this-
so disruptive.
I heard the
Never
Guardians
laughed.
is looking at Fausto.
They're not looking at anybody else.
Let's go from the punter to a punt returner.
we just
Jakeem
spend as
Grant
much money as Ohio
got
State?
hurt in the
Right.
preseason.
I'm done with Jakeem Grant.
Yeah, I
He
am
gets to
too.
play the game.
I am
I'm
too.
not
He'll get hurt on the very first play of the preseason.
not interested.
That's I feel bad for the guy.
Sorry.
I
pal.
do too. Let someone else take a risk.
But
on
it's,
him.
I mean, he waited all that time. And he got hurt in the preseason game, right?
Yep.
Kansas City.
both
See ya.
times. It was like the first
Yeah.
preseason game and the first practice. You know what will happen though? My prediction: Cincinnati will sign him, and he'll be a Pro Bowl punt returner, and he'll score 2 touchdowns against us in the 2 games he plays.
He'll play for the Chiefs, run one back in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
What about Mike Ford? He filled in at cornerback duty, a pretty good special teamser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I
Bring
like
him
him.
back.
right
I think
there.
they'll bring back Mike
I
Ford.
love his special teams play.
Yeah, I think that's his calling card.
Yep.
Kareem Hunt.
And he's a good backup.
Made a couple of plays too.
And by the
Yeah,
way,
nice pick.
And by the way, he looks pretty swaggy as well. Could you put him back up
He's
here?
swaggy. The extra points of swagginess.
Swaggy P.
You DBs need to learn from Mike Ford.
What is it about his uni game that you love?
Man, look at it. First of all, he has the orange spat. The orange spat.
Yeah, that is sharp.
He borrowed that from Deshaun Watson. Only Deshaun has orange spats. You can't even find that. Second of all,
Well, Eric Metcalf started it.
yes, he does.
Back
But
in the day.
but these are colored. He also has the brown socks on the elbow right there. Those are socks cut up on the elbow,
Really?
and he has the dark visor. So he has the Madden starter kit. That's what when you draft a guy. That's what you draft. You put an automatic shield on him and be ready to go.
All
We
right.
talked about this next guy quite a bit this week, but if you're Andrew Berry, do you bring back Kareem Hunt in 2024?
And that ship has sailed.
Nope.
That ship has sailed.
But I do think someone's going to give him another look.
Between Jason. No, I'm playing. Stump took
Now
over
he's
for
down to
you.
two
You're
wheels.
a fan. You are a fan.
Now he has
compared
two
to,
wheels.
He's a fan compared to what Stump said.
I think he's
He's an advocate.
I think he's going to be in the California Penal League next year.
What?
Wow, that's
what?
my
You
God.
sent him to jail?
What? Nah. Hey, strike
That was a
from
reference
record.
to Major League.
I'm
Remember?
Okay.
I know what it
that-
was.
You got that off. That was a good
Ricky
rebuttal.
Vaughn.
He
Yeah.
cleaned it up.
Next up, Rodney McLeod got hurt, but was productive when he played at
Nah.
third safety. No Schwartz's system. No
Man,
for Jay,
look,
no
I don't
for
need
D,
him.
No for
Look, man.
I got Ronnie Hickman.
Listen,
that's
my
why.
backup safety.
Hey, listen, between him and Juan Thornhill, they got veteran speed too. I seen guys catch rocks and
Veteran
go,
speed.
that veteran speed ain't getting it done. You run a 74 on Madden.
McLeod was here to help teach the system.
And he
Now
did.
they got it.
And he
Job
did,
done.
yeah.
And they've done a great job of finding safeties and defensive
I
backs.
agree.
Ohio-
That well has been very fruitful
Yeah.
for the Browns.
Yeah.
I wish they could have had that kind of success at wide receiver.
Coach Prime is looking for a GA. Go holler at the people of Colorado. Get your GA game on. Start with the gunners and punters.
Did you see what Dion did with his team? Had him work out with the
Marines?
The Marines.
Hey, bro. Hey,
changing it up.
There's a different kind of in shape.
Yeah.
They only won 3 games.
This next one's a twofer. 2 linebackers who more specialize in the special team side than on defense, but Matt Adams and Jordan Kanasic. If you want to go one of each, I'm just trying to fly through the rest of these. So we get it.
Yeah.
Nah, here's what
I
I'm going to
don't-
learn. Here's
I
what.
don't
Listen.
think
Is
so.
there one of these for I don't give a rat's ass?
No. Here,
Put
listen.
them both up for
You know
that.
what? If you don't, it should be a no, and here's why. Half our team is on the free agent list.
Yeah.
We have to get better.
Yeah.
We can't come back with all 26 of these guys.
Right, no.
By the way, hey, listen.
I don't want
You
those
don't.
guys.
I understand that you got to play well on special teams, but if you playing special teams and you can't play no regular position, no. I seen Jordan Kanasi getting drop kicked to the game. Adams was getting run around. No. You're a linebacker.
Yeah.
You don't just get to run down on kickoff. No, do something. No.
Yep.
Anthony Walker, you guys said yes to
No.
Taki, so I'm assuming it's a no
I
for
would move
everybody.
on, probably.
Hey,
Move
Michelle,
on right to
Thanks
the
for
next
the
one. then.
time.
How about
He gave us a moment.
Yeah. Shout out to Anthony
You got
Walker.
mad as hell at G when he called him a Jag.
I was premature. You're not a Jag. I like your leadership. I like what you gave to.
Love his leadership.
Your beard game is awesome, but we can't do it. We got Taki. Thank you for the memories. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Duron Harmon filled in admirably late due to injury, but
I bring Duron
Jay
Harmon
says
back.
yes.
Yeah, me too.
Harmon and
he
Hickman
made a
is
couple.
my third
3 yeses
fourth
and a
pick.
no.
Yeah.
He made a couple plays. He made a couple plays. All depends
No,
on
why, Jay?
I just think that they can do better.
Upgrade. Okay.
I ain't got a problem with that,
How about the 5th quarterback to start a game this year, Jeff Driscoll?
bro.
You're funny.
He technically counts. He's on
How
the
many
list.
guys took snaps? Because I know Kareem Hunt took a bunch. Harrison Bryant took a bunch.
At quarterback?
Yeah, so that's
5
7.
quarterbacks: Bryant, Ford, Hunt.
That's 8.
8. Did Elijah Moore ever get a Wildcat snap?
I don't
Maybe.
think so.
I don't
think
remember
so.
that happening, but
I
maybe.
think 8 then. I
Okay.
would think 8.
Hey,
Nick Chubb in that first game?
Hey, Jeff, Southeast Missouri State Financial and Life Insurance has a position for you, bro.
Southeast Missouri. Not even Northwestern.
No, not Northwestern.
Be on
way
a
too-
practice squad somewhere.
Jerron Christian. Next up.
No. It's a position we absolutely have to get better at.
Oh, no. I'm
See you,
sorry.
Jerron.
Hey, you did your job, Big
Garen.
homie. I appreciate you.
Yeah, he
G
did.
Junior.
He filled a gap.
He did his thing.
And by the way, I don't know that we've talked about this, but we did all of the postpartum that we were going to lose the greatest offensive line coach ever. And now it seems like the wind is blowing that he's going to stay right here.
Yeah, we mentioned that. I thought we mentioned
I don't
that.
think we ever brought it up on the show. We did a
Yeah.
chat deal on it.
Right. Yeah.
So okay, so let me just. I never understood this. We'll use Jay Crawford as an example. Corey lives in upstate New York. Corey
No, he
gets
doesn't.
No, he lives just outside New York City.
New York City. Okay, good. So he get a position and he say, you know what? Who's the biggest track program? Like Tennessee or something? Florida, Arkansas is pretty good.
Yeah, all those are good.
So Arkansas, he moves to Arkansas.
Arkansas is great.
He moves to Arkansas to get your track job.
Now I move in Arkansas.
There it is. Well,
I'll see you on Zoom.
I'm already rich. You come up, I'll see you on Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, but why would I move? I got to move.
Now, the difference here is it is in Nashville. Nashville's a hell of a city. Mm-hmm. It's an up-and-coming city. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fun things to do. The weather is better. Mm-hmm. When you get older, you start thinking about living in warmer climate. So, you know.
but also you and your son are not in the same profession.
Yeah, that's another
Phil
reason
is
why I
the
wouldn't want to go.
same
What the hell do you want me to do?
Yeah, right.
Coach public speaking for your jumpers?
if Bill wants to go, they should let him go.
You know,
course,
I
yeah.
said
Absolutely
that to
believe
someone yesterday, but I didn't realize this.
Yeah.
They've really been protective of him. He's
Oh,
had
yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, but if he had if they gave him a promotion, the Browns couldn't stop him.
But
If
they'd
they
have to
made
give
him
him
the
assistant-
OC
I'll make him an assistant head coach.
or assistant
Yeah,
head coach, they
Get out of
couldn't
here.
stop
You're not
him.
getting him.
Yeah.
He's staying. This is an
I
Well,
don't
the
know
the Browns then could counter and say, okay, you're the
I would have
assistant
thought if he was
associate head
going that
coach.
he would have gone already.
the guy just got the job. He's still building a staff. He literally just got the job. Like
Yeah.
3
was
days
crying
ago.
at
But this
press
is something he's thought about for,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
3
I mean,
years
what-
since he's been on the
You're
trail.
a dad. I'm a dad. I would love to work with my
Of course,
son
yeah.
work
That would
for
be
him.
awesome.
I think that would be great.
Wow.
I'd even move to Arkansas for him.
You
But
ever been to Little Rock?
so if
You know the athletic ain't letting that go. You know the kind of contract you got? Son, daughter, God, Jesus, no. You're going to be right here, right?
I'd like to go
I'm
work for
moving to
Jesus.
wherever my son goes to college. That's it.
I don't know which way this is going to end, but the Browns aren't going to let him go without a fight.
But
I
it
do know
does
that.
appear that, I mean, I think it was a
Albert
we
Breer.
thought it was a fait accompli. He was gone.
Right. Albert Breer reported earlier in the week that he doesn't think he's going.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
We'll see. A couple more guys, some no names, and a couple guys who did play. But Jacob Phillips, a guy who got hurt again preseason.
No,
Is his
goodbye.
Browns tenure done?
Bull couldn't even get it out fast.
now,
enough.
if he can punt, if we take that picture one more time, if he can be a
Thank
backup to Bojorquez, and it looks from this picture like he could, based on his extension, he does have to point his toe a little bit more. There's too much bend in that ankle. But perhaps he could be a backup punter.
People don't even know Jacob Phillips is on disability and he on workman's comp. I ain't see him play for the Browns yet.
Next
Yeah.
up, Mo Hurst, a guy who is
I'm
productive
bringing Mo
when
Hurst
held
back.
I
out.
love Mo Hurst.
I like him.
He's very cheap, and he was excellent when he was healthy.
He's got a great celebration dance.
Yes.
And he's at the Cleveland Awards dinner. He likes it
And he
here.
presented, and I have to tell you, he just came off as the most likable guy of all time.
I like that he was still in Cleveland after the season ended.
I did too.
I love the
Because
fact
Myles Garrett, who won the award, was not present.
you know good and well he wasn't coming to that. He's like
He's been in the past.
listen, he's defensive player of the year now.
Not yet.
It's like Jay-Z coming to the Grammys. Jay-Z is not going to be here today. He's going to
Accepting for him is Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift accepts all the awards now.
We got 5 more. Run through these real quick.
Okay.
James Prochet, the punt returner.
Pass.
I thought he did a decent job, but will you bring him back?
I'd bring him back.
Again, we've got to upgrade in key positions,
I'd bring him back.
and I think we can do better.
I don't know
He
why-
had a couple of instances where he didn't catch balls that he should have that cost us a lot.
Yeah, I'm moving on.
And so,
Now give me somebody else. I need somebody to break
give
some
me a
tackles.
threat to run one back.
Give me somebody.
Those guys are few and far between
I know
anymore.
they are,
It
but
just
they
doesn't
exist.
exist. It just doesn't exist.
No, they do.
For the most
Jakeem
part.
Grant, you already passed on him.
I'll stop.
He hasn't played for 2 years.
He can't stay healthy.
I'm just pointing out. Next up, Michael Dunn, valuable 6th offensive lineman,
You
played
know-
a lot this year.
Only because he was needed on a number
Nope.
of different instances, and I thought he played well when he
Nope.
was needed.
Nope, because I'm making Luke Whippler a swing guy. I need you to play guard and center.
All right. This is hard for me because for sentimental
like
reasons.
Michael
I work with his wife.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
wow.
But
She works at the Athletic?
she's a producer. She's on maternity now.
No kidding.
But I think it's a great story that they were dating and living in Strongsville, and she texted Zach and I during the Steelers playoff game and said, "I have to tell you guys something." We're like, "What could you possibly have to tell us?" She said, I'm engaged to Michael Dunn." And we're like, "What?"
Wow.
And she was living 20 minutes away from us the whole time.
That's
It was
hilarious.
great. It was hilarious. I would love to see Michael back. The fact that they practice squatted him this year tells me, and now
good
that
point.
they got Whippler in the system,
You're right.
I think they'll
Good
probably
point.
move
Bull,
on.
you're so easily influenced.
He's flip-flopped me on that one.
Yeah, that's good reasoning,
He
Jason.
turns you over.
So
That makes
this is
sense.
what happened with
I
Bull
forgot
on
he
that
was
one.
practice squad this
Jason
year.
Lloyd turns.
Yeah, but
Bull
when he
over.
was called on, I thought he
He's
played
great.
well.
Got that, G.
And I think what this year taught me more than anything else, you better have depth at the offensive line, because look at the number of injuries they sustained up
Yep.
there this year. It was astounding.
Yep.
Can we make up a free agent? Can we make up that James Hudson is a free agent and then get him out of here too?
Mike could have probably put a fake name in here. We wouldn't know
Well,
the difference.
there's
of
one in
something.
here you guys may not know. Philip Walker next. Gone. Any chance back? Okay, we'll go with these real quick.
I
Philip
mean,
gone.
he's already been
You
cut
know what?
once.
You called him Philip. It took me a minute. I'm like, who's that?
Hey man, PJ,
Well-
PJ, hey man, they got a
Tyvus
job
does
over
it.
there. But,
I blocked that out.
Deshaun, or, I mean, this drives me nuts, especially with Phillip. We came to know that that's what Tyvus calls him. Tyvus sent something in the chat the other day about Derek.
Yeah,
and
that's
I was
obnoxious.
busy, and I just glanced at it. I'm like, who the hell is he talking about, Derek? What is he talking about? And I didn't go back and read it again. And then it hit me sometime later. I'm like, he calls Deshaun Derek because that's his real name.
Yeah, he does that, man.
Tyvus, stop it.
Nick Harris, back or no? Nick
PJ
Harris.
Walker next year will be opening a Blimpie franchise in Mobile, Alabama.
so random.
And part-time, he working at Kia Bedford.
Nick Harris.
Yeah, Nick
What about
Harris.
Nick?
I'm done with Nick Harris.
What do you mean? He's the starting fullback. What you talking about?
It's true, he is.
I think he's back.
All right.
He has snuck his way. He has
He's
ski
always
masked
hurt.
his way into another job and another check.
He's the only guy I know of that never plays and is always hurt. How's he always hurt?
He's not always hurt.
He played every
I think he
game.
played all
Go with my
season this
narrative
year.
here.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. The guy's always hurt.
Begging for the
got
net.
hurt. He got
Go
hurt.
with my narrative.
That poor guy got
me up.
hurt in the preseason game in
And
Jacksonville because
he got
they had
Lou-
to
he
play
got-
Deshaun, so you got to play your starters, and he lost the starting
Just
job
like
because
Lou
of
Gehrig
it.
took away the
Yes.
starting job of who?
That's crazy.
Lou Gehrig without the talent.
What's the guy's name? No.
Wally Pipp.
Wally Pipp. He got Wally pipped.
Yeah.
Bull, I'm just going to tell you, there's two left. One of them might be fake. You got to tell me if one of these is fake or not. Next up, Ty Neshke.
As I said on our call earlier, that's Jason's racist cousin in Indiana.
Why would you say that?
I know. I didn't like that either. I didn't like that
He
either.
gonna put that.
funny.
He gonna put smut on your family's name.
What's wrong with you?
My gosh.
I didn't realize Ty Neshke was black. That's how little I know about him.
Is he real?
He is real.
That
Yes,
sounds
he's
like a
real.
white guy's name, though.
I thought it was Ray
How's
Nitschke.
Ty Neshke a black guy? That sounds like
Tyvus
a white
Neshke.
guy.
He goes by Ty.
Ty Neshke sounds
Ty
like a
Lue.
hockey player.
Ty Lue.
last
Ty we
one.
work with.
Sam Kamara.
That's not a real player.
Yes, he is.
Playa.
Yes, he is.
I love
Sam
it.
Kamara's a real player?
I think I do remember seeing that name
I think
somewhere.
he was on their practice squad.
Yeah, he is.
I
they
refuse to
elevated him.
answer because I don't give a crap.
They elevated him.
Bull does not talk. If you're 50 or below on the roster,
I don't
so
care.
that's the last three on the active, and
You're
then
done.
all of practice squad, you're dead to Bull.
But he knows-
You're the PFF of in my life.
But he knows every minor league shortstop's mother on their father's
That's
side.
true.
That is a fact.
All of them. Like, yeah, I'm like, he played in the Puerto Rican League, batted 236. He's a platoon guy, can play short, second, and he catches. He throws left-handed,
speaking
but
of
bats
which-
right-handed.
Speaking of which, I got a heck of a score in my baseball immaculate grid this morning.
Nice. Well, that was all 26 free
Mike
agents.
doesn't
Hopefully we educated some people. We'll give our playoff picks.
Which player was fake?
No, they were all
No,
real.
they were
Sam
all
Kamara
real.
Yeah,
wasn't
because I
sure.
thought I recognized.
I
both
said
of
there
those
wasn't a
names.
0% chance they were all real.
Did Nechke or Kamara play a single snap?
Kamara played special teams against Houston in week 16, whatever that game
Okay.
was.
So he was on field goal block. or
He was
something?
He's not coming
the
back.
picture we showed of Kamara was on the Damian Pierce kick return touchdown.
I mean, hell, we
okay.
do have some draft picks, so
Yes.
some people have to go.
All right, so we're gonna give our
Wait,
playoff
isn't
picks.
I forgot his name. The kicker. Isn't he a free agent? Hopkins?
Yeah, you know, we just signed a kicker yesterday, and I meant to ask you that. Why did we sign a kicker yesterday?
I think did they
It's,
sign for the
it's a practice squad kicker.
I know, but why?
Well, Hopkins has a history of injuries. Like he was
the
hurt.
guy they signed was the
Every
guy that was
team-
already on their practice
But
squad
but
earlier.
isn't Hopkins would have been on nothing more but a 1-year deal, right?
I believe he's a.
I
free
think
agent.
I'm
he's a
looking up
free
his
agent.
contract. He wasn't on anything I saw.
But you're always going to have two kickers in camp, even if you have a good. Even
Yeah.
even the
guess-
Ravens bringing
Are-
another
are
kicker.
y'all-
I guess,
y'all
but
bringing him
in
back?
January?
Are y'all bringing him
If you
back?
like him.
Hopkins is under contract next season.
Okay,
He
cool.
is?
Yeah,
Oh,
$2.8
good.
million.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that, but I'm glad to hear it.
He signed a 2-year deal before last season with the Chargers. So
And I wonder if that was
for the 23
if
season.
the Browns would have had
423,
an
correct.
easy out
423.
if they didn't want to.
I'm guessing it's not. There's probably
Yeah.
not much of a guarantee. Or
there's
no
zero
guarantee.
guaranteed
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
$0 in
Well,
guaranteed
they're definitely
money.
picking that up.
So all right, we're going to do our NFL picks after we do a little NBA talk. We'll do it right before we end up and go to WKYC. But first, a word from FanDuel, and then we'll talk about Donovan Mitchell and the Eastern Conference All-Star starters. The NFL's regular season may have wrapped up. Still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, though, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed just by placing a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And the best part, The app is easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, including live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. You can make parlays in the Parlay Hub, which is the best and easiest way to find popular parlays, and so much more. So make sure you visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. The players and media voted on the Eastern Conference and Western Conference NBA All-Stars yesterday. Here is the Eastern Conference starters. You have Giannis, who's the captain, joined by Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid in the front court. Tyrese Halliburton and Damian Lillard are the two backcourt starters. So the question to you guys is, was Donovan Mitchell snubbed of one of the two backcourt starting spots on the Eastern Conference All-Star team?
I think he was, and I think it's Lillard getting, I think it's his first starting spot.
Ever.
Which was, I mean, he played in the West before, now he's in the East.
You're always stuck behind Steph.
Always stuck behind Steph, and it's a tough team to make anyhow, no matter was West or East, but he just was never going to make it out West. I think this feels like a Lifetime Achievement Award to me because Donovan Mitchell's having a better season. You could argue a career season because in a lot of his categories, he's having his best year. So, and he's definitely, for me, definitively having a better year than Dame. So I just don't get it.
Bucks are the better team.
There you go.
It comes
fan
down.
vote.
I know, but
a fan vote weighs heavily on this. So
wait,
that's
heavily.
We
using.
talk about snubs usually when a guy makes the team or doesn't. Mitchell's going to be on the team. Does it really matter?
No, I know,
if he's a
but he's
starter?
doing it for starters. I just felt like he should have been. I didn't even think it was going to be an issue. I thought he's definitely going to be named to the starting team. That he isn't, I think, was a miss. Is it egregious? Am I going to scream and yell and shout? No, but I just think that Donovan Mitchell. Now, here's what kept him off the team. I don't know how many times Lillard's missed, but I think Mitchell's missed close to 10 games.
Probably. That sounds.
And
probably
that's,
right.
I think, that's what kept him off the team.
And just like, G said yesterday, well, Myles Garrett should get like a little bit of a boost because the Browns had the best defense.
Yeah.
In the same thing where the Bucks their numbers are pretty close. And
Very close.
The Bucks are better.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
And
Lillard's played 8 more games, by the way. He's played 8 more
I
games.
think that's why
Yeah.
he made the team.
I really don't because the fans don't care about that. Fans vote
Well,
for
they've
who
got
they
to
wanna
see you if
But
they
the
think
fans
you're
is
an
only
all-star.
part of the vote, right? It's
It
also
is.
the players.
I
Yeah.
don't remember the. No, it's media. It's a mix.
Do we know
combination
the
of-
breakdown, Mike, of like who voted
I don't
for
think
who?
they tell you
It's like
that.
No, they
20
do.
They do.
Oh, they do?
It's
I
like
didn't-
20 something.
Because I saw, can't remember the player, but I saw the media had someone voted a starter, but that person did not win the vote overall because of the fan vote. And
I have the
everything else.
breakdown if you want it real quick.
Yeah, what was it between those
Fan
guys?
vote is 50%.
No.
No.
but who did the-
Where did they rank? Who did the fans vote to the starting lineup?
Well, I'll get that in one sec. But fan votes 50% for the starters, players 25, and then media's 25, and then the coaches pick the 7 reserves.
I actually I think that's very fair. I
It's
like
a game
those.
for the
I
fans.
like those splits.
Like it's a game for the fans.
Yeah,
and,
game.
and plus, people will say like, all right. In most people's minds, you say who's better, Donovan Mitchell or Damian Lillard? People are going to say Damian Lillard is better, even though it may be close.
I mean, it's pretty close, right?
Or it might be that Donovan Mitchell is better at this point in his career. But when you talk about a guy who is Damian Lillard, like, come on, like,
It's not like Milwaukee's a sexier market than Cleveland.
and they're number two. They're number 2 in the East. They got a better record. They got
Yeah.
more name brand record, and he plays with Giannis. Like I don't think it's a snub.
In the fan vote, Damian Lillard finished 3rd among Eastern Conference guards. Donovan Mitchell finished 4th.
Who
close.
finished second?
Trey Young and Halliburton, who deserved to be an all-star starter, got the most player votes, the most fan votes, and the most media
Well,
votes.
yeah, that part they got right. To me, I didn't think there was a question
So
over Halliburton.
What
or,
was the player breakdown between Mitchell and?
Player breakdown.
Yeah.
Lillard was 4th. Mitchell was 5th.
Wow.
It's close.
And then the media breakdown, while we're doing it, Lillard 5th, Mitchell 3rd.
Close.
So the media was the only one that had Mitchell ahead of Lillard.
They're both great players.
Yeah, they're both going to be on the
there's
team
only
at the end of
It's,
the
it's
season.
splitting hairs.
I
at
think
the
you're
end of the
splitting
day.
hairs. I think, to me, I know you're saying it's not a big difference, but for anybody that glances at the 2 stat pages, to me, the games played, you can't be an all-star if you're not playing every day. It's harder to be an all-star if you're not playing every day. And because Lillard has played 8 more games out of where are we in the total number of games played so far?
About halfway.
Not even halfway, I don't think.
We're halfway.
No, some teams
are
are
we?
past half.
Yeah.
I think the Cavs are exactly 40
Yeah.
games. The
Okay,
Cavs
yeah, because
record-
I thought the Cavs hadn't reached their 41st
No, they're at least 41.
Cavs have played 42 games.
Okay.
So just
So
past
you're
half.
basically halfway through the season. When you miss 8 of the first 42 games,
That's 20%.
that's a big portion of the schedule.
Now,
So-
I don't know. Now, if you ask me all, do you think Mitchell has a potential to make All-NBA again? Because I think that's
There's
the
just
uphill
one
battle.
team All NBA, right?
No, there's first team,
and
second team.
No, but I mean, it's not East
It's-
and West.
Correct.
Right.
Who are the
correct.
starting guards for the West?
Luka and SGA.
So,
The
no,
guard,
he
the
doesn't-
guard
he can't be-
position is loaded.
Yeah.
It is going to be really tough for Mitchell.
So
He's
there's
having a
no
great
way he
season.
can be first team. He's not better than SGA, and he's not better
No,
than
he's
Luka.
definitely
No,
not gonna be
he's
first
definitely
team
not.
NBA.
No, but he made second team last year. So
Well,
I'm asking,
we know SGA, Halliburton, as of now, and Luka will all be ahead of him.
so
Maybe
there's-
Lillard.
there's-
Who else, Mike?
There's one position that
Steph.
I mean, Steph's in contention. You could look at. I mean, Lillard will be in contention for those spots.
There's
obviously.
a lot of games left. He
Tyrese
might
Maxey,
sneak
yeah,
onto the
there's a
third
lot to
team,
play.
but
Who's the starters? The rest of the starters in the West.
The rest starters are SGA, Luka, LeBron, Durant, and Nikola Jokic.
how many
Nikola Jokic.
how many All-Star games is this for LeBron?
20.
20. It's a new record.
Yep.
He's been in every year, right?
Passes Kareem, right?
No, not his first year.
Oh, not his first year.
Doesn't
I
he
can't
pass
believe
Past
that.
Kareem?
Kareem, yeah. Kareem had 19. He has 20 now.
That's crazy.
I don't think it's egregious that Lillard was named the starter. I would have voted for Mitchell personally. I think
That's
he's having
exactly what
a
I
little bit
said.
better
I
Is
season.
don't think
LeBron
it's
deserving
egregious.
of being a starter?
Yes.
I mean,
It's
I think he
LeBron.
is.
What do you mean?
he's LeBron, yeah.
No, that's
But
that
probably
is
not.
not
No.
acceptable.
What is his
answer.
What is
It's
his
an all-star
numbers?
game.
Give him the numbers.
It's not the MVP.
Here's the
You know he wants the
All-Star game.
numbers.
Second.
Give
The
him the
Fans
numbers.
want to see LeBron
I
start
didn't-
in an All-Star
I
game.
didn't.
Yes.
I'm saying, is he deserving?
I think the answer to that is yes, too.
When you reach a certain level,
Well, we just argued Donovan Mitchell versus Damian Lillard.
The,
What's
the
no?
answer is no, Bull. If
Wait.
you're being honest, the answer is no.
Okay.
What's his numbers?
That's what I'm talking about.
no,
He's averaging
I get what you're saying. I'm
25
just
points a
saying,
game.
has he earned it?
When
with
you-
Hold on.
What'd you say? What'd you say? How
He's
many?
averaging 25, 7, and 7.
it's pretty freaking
Those
good.
are All-Star numbers.
What
Yeah.
are you?
That's pretty good.
25, 7, and
So
7.
who should be starting over him, Mike?
I mean, I think you can make a case that. and it
Okay,
all dep-
right there, if you have to say that,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
over.
then I
I'm saying
agree.
it depends on the
It
positional.
shouldn't be if you have
Okay.
to make a case. For
So
LeBron
if-
not to be in the starting lineup, there has to be a gap between his
Who-
numbers and this,
And
whoever
so
you're going to argue.
who do you want to put in this? Can we get some?
Once again, this is if you're
Okay.
you're mixing the wing. If it was all open,
If you
to
took
all
the
wings.
name off the player and you
All right.
just looked at the stats.
But I'm also because it's 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center.
All right,
All right,
it's
so
three-
who's the
I know.
guy?
If you mix wings, Devin Booker as a case, you can make a case for Anthony Edwards, who's having a great season, and those two, I think you can
Now,
talk yourself into.
If you're an All-Star game and you're going to the All-Star game and you're
Which
a
do
fan,
you wanna
turn
see
it on.
play?
Who do you want to see starting? Anthony Edwards
I
or
get
LeBron?
it.
And by the way, if
I'm just-
LeBron wants to be the MVP of this game again,
He will be.
He will be.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. He wanted to win the
Oh, my
in-season
God.
tournament, so they won it.
They won it. You're
The
exactly
NBA
right.
All-Star game has become the
unwatchable.
NFL finally
It's
smartened
It's
up.
been that way
and now they're
forever,
just
though.
playing events.
Yes, but the NBA All-Star
All-Star
game
game's
for me
unwatchable.
is unwatchable
Well, they're
and
tr-
has been for 25 years.
And they're trying with like the schoolyard pick now, and they're trying
Yeah.
to mix it up.
They're still not
and-
playing any defense.
No, but I mean, how many
pathetic.
teams play defense in the regular season?
I know, but it's
They
so
definitely
it's
gotta
like
do it in
the
an
teams are
All-Star
coming
game.
down and alley-ooping, and there's
When
like two
I
guys
was a
back on
kid, they
defense.
played defense in the
But the
All-Star game.
point I was making, when you reach LeBron, Michael, Kareem
Yeah,
status,
you're rubber stamped.
You're in the All-Star game as long as you want.
And by the
to
way,
be.
Bull, I understand that well, wait a minute, you just used that argument
Yeah.
for the Dame Lillard for that particular case.
they ain't in that category.
They're both kind of in the same sphere. LeBron is in another world.
I hear you. It's an all-star game. That's fine. It should be what the fans want.
One of the-
We shouldn't do that for awards or whatever.
I agree with that.
no,
you know,
I
One of
do
the
too.
greatest All-Star moments is Magic Johnson coming back after they thought
HIV
he was dead
and winning the MVP.
And he hit that jumper with the ugly jumper and left it up there. I said, "Oh my goodness, it's crazy. He's out there playing with a disease people die tomorrow of. He's hooping." I thought
won the MVP.
He won the MVP. I was like, he didn't even play that year. That's
was
crazy.
he like? It was, yeah, okay.
But do you remember the fear? This is how far we've come. Do you remember the fear from the other players?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
What
Karl-
if he bleeds?
Yeah.
Oh, Karl
I
Malone-
could get AIDS.
Karl Malone wasn't having it.
A lot of them were.
In those
Yeah,
early days,
wasn't Karl
you
Malone
just-
sleeping with kids?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a horrible human being.
This dude, this guy got your Rolodex is crazy. I even forgot about that.
Karl Malone's disgusting.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
God, he's a horrible.
So we're all in agreement. Not necessarily an egregious
People
miss,
file
but
lawsuits.
there's
That
definitely a
stuff.
good case
Be
for
careful.
Donovan Mitchell to be one of the 2 starters. I think it matters a little more than some other people. It's
Right.
up to your own interpretation,
Okay.
but it is what it is. We got one super chat that we're going to give our picks for our final
Real quick,
NFL.
Mike, is Jared Allen going to make the All-Star team or no?
Well, we'll have that discussion probably next week. The front court in the East, I can't imagine they take 2 extra centers.
I can't either.
And he's not going to get ahead of Bam Adebayo in Miami,
Okay.
so I don't think so. But he sure as hell has a case to be there. Jason,
All right.
is that
He'll make it as a replacement because half these guys are
Someone
going to
will
drop
drop
out.
out.
True.
Half these guys will drop out, and maybe they'll put him on, and then he would be a 2-time All-Star.
Yeah.
that kind of drives me crazy. I'm not
Wow.
going to lie, that drives me crazy.
Because
You're not
half
an
the league's
all-star.
an All-Star by the time you get
Well,
to
it's
the
like-
game.
it's
Well,
the
last
Pro
year
Bowl.
the Ravens' backup quarterback was a
Yeah.
Pro Bowl.
But,
Wow,
Jay, let me
football,
ask you
yeah,
this.
that's a
This is
joke.
not a knock on
yeah, but he was like
Antonio or
2 and
Teller.
5 as a starter, and it was terrible. And he was the
Yeah.
backup quarter, Hundley.
I still don't know how that happened.
I don't
And that
either.
is an issue, but like this year in particular, because Batonio can't play in the Pro Bowl because of his injury.
Right.
Wyatt Teller got named to the spot.
Yep.
So now the Browns have 2 All-Pro or 2 Pro Bowl guards, even though you're either
You're
a
right.
Pro Bowler or you're not.
Yeah.
It's not. There shouldn't be injury alternates that then get you on because then you have I don't know, participation trophy. Not taking anything away from Teller, who had a great season. I'm just saying. I
You
think
are
it's
taking
kinda
things
silly.
away from Teller, but go ahead.
Yeah, I guess in this case I actually physically
When
am
everyone
taking
says
it away,
no
but-
disrespect, they're about to
Disrespect.
But no, it's not. Teller didn't do anything wrong here. It's just a stupid system. Like, you
know.
can't give another guy a Pro Bowl when your own guy's getting out. All right. The Ultimate Shows, by the way, next Friday, a week from today, the first ever Ultimate Show. Myself, Jason, talking all things Cavs, and that launches daily content each day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of these new team-specific shows we're launching. We've got the Ultimate Browns with G. Bush, Ultimate 216, which is a culture sports combo with Earl the Pearl, myself, Jason, hosting the Ultimate Cavs Show, and the Ultimate Guardian Show host, TBD, but it'll be 30 minutes a week, team-specific shows. You can't get better coverage than UCSS guys talking their expertise sports, and we're going to find a great host for the Guardian Show, so that's coming starting next Friday with the first ever Ultimate Cavs Show.
Jay, quickly, do you know when you're going to spring training yet? I keep meaning to ask you, and I forget.
No, probably February, late
Oh,
February.
you're going-
I'm
oh,
going
okay.
early this year. I'm
Really?
going early. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a reason for that, or
Guys are in a better mood.
more access to because you're not playing games yet? Yeah.
Yeah.
We got one
I
super
was
chat,
hoping
then we'll
we'd be
make
there
our
at the same
picks
time. When
are you
for
going?
Sunday's
March.
games. Jeff says we need to draft an offensive tackle in the second round. We have too much money invested in our line to sign a free agent. We could pick up a wide receiver too in free agency.
We will not be doing that. We will not be drafting tackles at all. No left tackles. We didn't give Conklin his money. We got DeJuan Jones. We didn't give Jed Wills the 5th year.
But
No.
Jed is. They do need to draft another tackle. Not necessarily in the second round, but they need to draft a tackle at some point or add a tackle because I would think you're going to move on from Jed Wills after this year, after 24.
If you can find someone,
You can't sign another big. You have all these guys on the big contract. Can't sign everybody.
if you
there.
can find someone of equal or better for
Yeah.
the money, yeah, okay, move on
Yeah.
from them. The only point I've ever made with Jed is it's hard to find these left tackles.
I'm
It's
starting.
Not that easy.
You know what? I never thought I'd say it. I'm starting to go down that path, Jason, because as much as Jed left a lot to be desired, he's better than them 2 dudes they had out there at the end of the year.
Well, there are other options between that.
I want to sign Jason Kelsey.
That'd be awesome. All right, guys, let's real quick. Let's,
I
He sounded
love
like
that
I
guy.
want to get ice cream.
let's get on the
afterwards.
record though.
Yeah,
with our-
I want a pony for Christmas.
Right.
Let's
I
get
know
on the
that
record
that's
though
not
with our
likely,
picks
but-
for Championship Sunday.
Oh.
You got the Ravens and the Chiefs. You got the 49ers and the Detroit Lions. Bull, we'll start with you. We'll go around the horn. Who wins on Sunday? What are we seeing in the Super Bowl?
I've got the Chiefs and the 49ers winning. I'm probably wrong. Everything points to the Ravens winning this game,
Which is why they won't.
but I don't know, man. I bet against Patrick Mahomes last week,
And you regret it.
and I was wrong.
Lost all that money.
I was so sure that the Bills were going to win that game. And Patrick Mahomes is just a different cat in the playoffs. He wasn't the best quarterback in the regular season this year for the first time. But I'll still take him in the playoffs over anybody else. So I'm going, and the Chiefs' defense is good. They can run the ball. I'm going with the Chiefs, and I'm rooting for the Lions because I want the Lions to win it all.
I do too.
But I just think the 49ers are too tough. But I think both games will be close.
With you on the 49ers, this isn't why I'm taking Baltimore, but Mark Andrews is coming back. They activated him today. That's
Yeah.
a big boost for their offense.
Yep.
I'll
But
take
what
the
will he
Ravens
look
at home.
like, you know?
I'm sure he's not going to be mid-season form.
No, he's
but just
playing
being on the
because
field,
the calendar says he's got to play.
just being on the field is a threat.
Sure.
And
But you know what? Lively filled in as well as anyone could have hoped for.
he's still not Mark Andrews.
No, he's not. But he played
And
very
it's
well.
hard to go against Mahomes. It's hard to go against Mahomes, but I'll take Baltimore playing at home.
Wow.
Baltimore and the Niners.
I lost, I picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl. I gained even more respect for Patrick Mahomes. You go into Buffalo and you beat that team like that. Now the Ravens look like the best team all year, but I'm going to just keep it real, man. This is the Michael Jordan of quarterbacks right now. Like, you just, home, road. He's going to go in there and win. I got the Chiefs winning, and he's going to add a lot of, pegs to his belt because I just think it don't matter. He's just that dude. And then on the other side, I really want the Lions to win. I really do. I'm trying to figure out a way in my head that I'm going to pick them, but I can't do it. I think Purdy has been playing up and down. I think he actually comes into this game, and he's like the Purdy from midseason.
He's been playing really well.
Well, I look when I say up and down.
Recently.
He played bad against the Ravens.
He had 2 bad games. Browns
he
and
didn't
Ravens.
play great last week.
And I didn't think
No,
he
he
played.
did.
I didn't think he
He
played
did.
that great. I didn't think he played that great.
What were his numbers
He made
last
a
week?
lot of
Brock
bad-
Purdy's numbers.
Yeah, I don't know about the numbers, but he made a lot of bad throws.
Where he was below his completion percentage, but he threw for a lot of yards.
Yeah,
and
but I was
touchdowns.
watching. But if you watch the game,
He missed some open
he missed some
guys,
really good-
which he typically doesn't.
Yeah.
But
He was 23 for 39, 252 yards, 1 touchdown, and by my unofficial count, and if I remember correctly, he had about 73 missed drop interceptions.
a lot of,
Yeah.
and he also
Yeah,
had 5 drops. They were dropping one after another. His
but-
own team was
but
dropping ball. I'm like, what are they doing?
he didn't play a great game.
I feel like this game he goes back to that efficient game. Kittle gets involved. McCaffrey
Yeah,
does.
and
I
his
know
thing,
it
and they
was
win.
raining last week,
Yeah.
and that factored in. But I didn't think he played that well. I think he'll play better this week.
I'm ride or die with San Fran, have been all year. Unfortunately, I had San Fran and Buffalo in the Super Bowl, which I thought it would have been great because earlier this year when I insisted that Brock Purdy was a top 5 quarterback, Bull asked me who I was taking out. I said Josh Allen. Thought I was nuts. I wanted to see them in a Super Bowl. I really did.
Well, I wanted to see Josh Allen play Lamar because there's a lot of talk about who's better between those two.
Yeah, I mean, look, that would have
Yeah.
been great too. Unfortunately, this is a bit of bad news for the Baltimore Ravens. I read this morning, and I'm like, uh-oh. You know all these conspiracy theories with the NFL
With the
games
colors.
and the storylines. The head referee
Oh, I didn't
for
see this.
Sunday's game between the Ravens and the Chiefs, and this isn't a statistical anomaly, this is a landslide, is his crew has called by far more penalties against the home team than any other crew, and it's not close.
Wow.
And how often can you say that about receiving,
Yeah.
about the officials?
Yeah.
And the theory was the NFL is going to have, one way or another, Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl no matter what. And this is their theory for how they get Kansas City there. And I think they'll get their
that's
win.
factual.
Kansas
Colors
City,
thing.
See you on Channel
San
3 in 5
Francisco
minutes, 3 minutes.
in the Super Bowl.
Peace.